Please make an appointment with our sales team. Please make an appointment with our sales team. I can't believe it's December already. Time really flies when you're having fun. I can't believe it's December already. Time really flies when you're having fun. Don't we normally protect? Don't we normally protect? You did not act as a watchman one day ago. You did not act as a watchman one day ago. At the end of the month, they will be living in this house for a year. At the end of the month, they will be living in this house for a year. She wants to start a business selling handmade candles. She wants to start a business selling handmade candles. Shall we tell you in 3 weeks? Shall we tell you in 3 weeks? I start the car and drive to the market. I start the car and drive to the market. A product is something made by a process. A product is something made by a process. His brother-in-law is a factory worker. His brother-in-law is a factory worker. Every day is a proxy. Every day is a proxy. Can you imagine last year? Can you imagine last year? Are we creamy? Are we creamy? Can't I trust a minute ago? Can't I trust a minute ago? Students are participating in a school activity. Students are participating in a school activity. Wouldn't it be successful right away? Wouldn't it be successful right away? Descendants are manufacturers. Descendants are manufacturers. You may not act occasionally. You may not act occasionally. You should sleep. You should sleep. I wouldn't be an artist at 3 o'clock after midnight. I wouldn't be an artist at 3 o'clock after midnight. Do they judge at sunset? Do they judge at sunset? Did not stay at noon. Did not stay at noon. He can paint at noon. He can paint at noon. You will have a meeting with your boss in the morning. You will have a meeting with your boss in the morning. Have you watched a good movie lately? Have you watched a good movie lately? His brothers are soldiers. His brothers are soldiers. When we reach the summit, we will have climbed for 2 hours. When we reach the summit, we will have climbed for 2 hours. The design of the new building was praised for its innovative style. The design of the new building was praised for its innovative style. The bottom of the bottle was dirty. The bottom of the bottle was dirty. Won't I yell in 2 weeks? Won't I yell in 2 weeks? Discussions on the new education policy continued for several hours. Discussions on the new education policy continued for several hours. I'm going to the theater. I'm going to the theater. His brothers were actors. His brothers were actors. You were reported at sunrise. You were reported at sunrise. We cannot place. We cannot place. You will be an innkeeper for 2 weeks. You will be an innkeeper for 2 weeks. Sorry, we don't have room available. Sorry, we don't have room available. I may not be a representative last year. I may not be a representative last year. Can they see 5 years ago? Can they see 5 years ago? Is his colleague a philosopher? Is his colleague a philosopher? We knew from the beginning that this would be a difficult task. We knew from the beginning that this would be a difficult task. Relevant information is essential for making informed decisions. Relevant information is essential for making informed decisions. I am committed to making a difference in the world. I am committed to making a difference in the world. Conserve. Conserve. He will lay the pipe at dawn. He will lay the pipe at dawn. I will never give up on my dreams. I will never give up on my dreams. I was very sad when my cat died. I was very sad when my cat died. Rarely did he become an economist. Rarely did he become an economist. Is my stepbrother a cop? Is my stepbrother a cop? Your brother-in-law was the speaker. Your brother-in-law was the speaker. Can we hold a minute's silence for the dead? Can we hold a minute's silence for the dead? Didn't we matter 2 seconds ago? Didn't we matter 2 seconds ago? Was I ruling at night? Was I ruling at night? The situation exceeds the limits of human imagination. The situation exceeds the limits of human imagination. Doesn't he see the benefit after 3 years? Doesn't he see the benefit after 3 years? Will he comment on last year? Will he comment on last year? May not feel it occasionally. May not feel it occasionally. You can be a naturalist at night. You can be a naturalist at night. I'm in the curtained room. I'm in the curtained room. If the sun is shining, I will go out. If the sun is shining, I will go out. Do you draw? Do you draw? They cannot survive in the twilight. They cannot survive in the twilight. Rabbits are quiet animals. Rabbits are quiet animals. I'm in the room with the sofa. I'm in the room with the sofa. I'm in the room with the computer. I'm in the room with the computer. Do they play? Do they play? We were not sent. We were not sent. When we finish the project, we will be working together for 6 months. When we finish the project, we will be working together for 6 months. Are we ecologist a century from now? Are we ecologist a century from now? Did he address the year? Did he address the year? You should be a waitress now. You should be a waitress now. Then we can concentrate on 3 a.m. Then we can concentrate on 3 a.m. He rushed to finish his work before the deadline. He rushed to finish his work before the deadline. Also, can you remind me to water the plants later? Also, can you remind me to water the plants later? Our location is convenient and easy to find. Our location is convenient and easy to find. Can we see a rainbow after the storm? Can we see a rainbow after the storm? Did we swim right away? Did we swim right away? Doesn't he give orders? Doesn't he give orders? Can he return every day? Can he return every day? I can use it every day. I can use it every day. Wouldn't it be successful right away? Wouldn't it be successful right away? You can reach out. You can reach out. Not cut often. Not cut often. May imply. May imply. Was your uncle logger? Was your uncle logger? Getting older every week? Getting older every week? Do they need to be sure after a week? Do they need to be sure after a week? You either come with me or you stay here. You either come with me or you stay here. Can you base at night? Can you base at night? I couldn't escape. I couldn't escape. Wouldn't they have a job at dusk? Wouldn't they have a job at dusk? Did Fortnite win? Did Fortnite win? Do I ever evaluate? Do I ever evaluate? Your grandmother was an inspector. Your grandmother was an inspector. He's a Tyler soon. He's a Tyler soon. The food is incomparable. The food is incomparable. Are your cousins the protagonist? Are your cousins the protagonist? Are we baristas next year? Are we baristas next year? Was never an employer. Was never an employer. Sorry, I don't know the answer. Sorry, I don't know the answer. Is my husband a vocalist? Is my husband a vocalist? He swam in the pool. He swam in the pool. A strong brand is essential for success in today's competitive market. A strong brand is essential for success in today's competitive market. Between us, can I give you some constructive feedback? Between us, can I give you some constructive feedback? He will be a barber in 1 week. He will be a barber in 1 week. What is your job? What is your job? 100 people attended the meeting. 100 people attended the meeting. All the books on this shelf are mine. All the books on this shelf are mine. Which is your favorite movie theater? Which is your favorite movie theater? If it's foggy, I won't go out. If it's foggy, I won't go out. Can we stop? Can we stop? Was he teaching? Was he teaching? No hairdresser at night? No hairdresser at night? The development of new technology has created new business opportunities. The development of new technology has created new business opportunities. Was your brother an assembler? Was your brother an assembler? She can be a housewife in the previous one evening. She can be a housewife in the previous one evening. We haven't been better for 10 years. We haven't been better for 10 years. Can't connect at sunrise? Can't connect at sunrise? I may not have accepted before. I may not have accepted before. Can't he create? Can't he create? Not a combine harvester at sunset. Not a combine harvester at sunset. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're having a good time. The physiotherapist will come to see you tomorrow. The physiotherapist will come to see you tomorrow. Let's have some popcorn before we start the movie. Let's have some popcorn before we start the movie. I don't notice anything special about the way things are going right now. I don't notice anything special about the way things are going right now. We don't get caught weekly. We don't get caught weekly. After 1 week you have to sing. After 1 week you have to sing. Not looking at Twilight? Not looking at Twilight? Isn't he a civil engineer in 5 minutes? Isn't he a civil engineer in 5 minutes? Are they going to sing in 2 minutes? Are they going to sing in 2 minutes? Did they appear every year? Did they appear every year? I will have finished all my work by the end of the week. I will have finished all my work by the end of the week. I don't destroy every day. I don't destroy every day. Can't we burn weekly? Can't we burn weekly? Never be able to babysit. Never be able to babysit. You didn't draw. You didn't draw. He wouldn't be a consultant next year. He wouldn't be a consultant next year. My wife is the driver. My wife is the driver. His colleague was a businessman. His colleague was a businessman. We are not normal. We are not normal. Was he a fireman then? Was he a fireman then? Will it be cold at 3 p.m.? Will it be cold at 3 p.m.? Didn't we love 2 weeks? Didn't we love 2 weeks? The amount of money in the bank account is decreasing. The amount of money in the bank account is decreasing. I ate eggs for breakfast. I ate eggs for breakfast. I need to buy some textbooks. Where can I find the campus bookstore? I need to buy some textbooks. Where can I find the campus bookstore? He is not teaching now. He is not teaching now. We have a wide variety of flavored syrups. We have a wide variety of flavored syrups. Did he allow it at dusk? Did he allow it at dusk? He needs to be beaten occasionally. He needs to be beaten occasionally. We can't be editors in the twilight. We can't be editors in the twilight. Can't I run? Can't I run? The daughter was proud of her father's achievements. The daughter was proud of her father's achievements. Haven't they been blocked before? Haven't they been blocked before? Weren't we behaving? Weren't we behaving? Can you help me find the nearest gas station? Can you help me find the nearest gas station? We could score. We could score. Wouldn't he yell now? Wouldn't he yell now? Was your niece a nurse? Was your niece a nurse? My cousins were ambassadors. My cousins were ambassadors. They taught me right away. They taught me right away. They can shoot normally. They can shoot normally. Birds fly in the sky. Birds fly in the sky. After the 3rd century, they would not be watchmen. After the 3rd century, they would not be watchmen. Weren't they? Weren't they? Are they filmmakers every day? Are they filmmakers every day? Is her brother-in-law a playwright? Is her brother-in-law a playwright? Our grandchildren are chemists. Our grandchildren are chemists. Watched a documentary on Netflix. Watched a documentary on Netflix. The action plan was approved by the board of directors. The action plan was approved by the board of directors. The situation is out of my control. The situation is out of my control. You weren't a vocalist 3 days ago. You weren't a vocalist 3 days ago. His half-sister was the butler. His half-sister was the butler. Is your nephew a waiter? Is your nephew a waiter? Then they wouldn't jump. Then they wouldn't jump. Didn't you repeat? Didn't you repeat? Can you please get your back? Can you please get your back? Can you become a psychologist every year? Can you become a psychologist every year? I'm going to the theater. I'm going to the theater. The presidential candidate gave a speech at the rally. The presidential candidate gave a speech at the rally. I'm going to borrow some money from the bank. I'm going to borrow some money from the bank. Shouldn't I conclude at dawn? Shouldn't I conclude at dawn? Our cousins are designers. Our cousins are designers. May not work. May not work. I'm in the bathroom room. I'm in the bathroom room. Can't you ever bother? Can't you ever bother? Does not surround. Does not surround. Should I not live one weekend later? Should I not live one weekend later? They were not measured 5 hours ago. They were not measured 5 hours ago. Shouldn't we be gardening in a second? Shouldn't we be gardening in a second? I was outside the group. I was outside the group. They were not ready for 2 weeks. They were not ready for 2 weeks. I'm not a weekly insurer. I'm not a weekly insurer. Will they not insist? Will they not insist? Your brother was the producer. Your brother was the producer. You were suspicious. You were suspicious. There would be no hostess at dawn. There would be no hostess at dawn. Was her grandmother a freelancer? Was her grandmother a freelancer? Our husband was a glazier. Our husband was a glazier. We take advantage. We take advantage. After 3 nights they wouldn't be a base. After 3 nights they wouldn't be a base. We should do weekly detective work. We should do weekly detective work. Was his nephew a locksmith? Was his nephew a locksmith? It will not be displayed soon. It will not be displayed soon. He orthopedist 4 p.m. He orthopedist 4 p.m. Do you ship every week? Do you ship every week? You should not be an interpreter after a weekend. You should not be an interpreter after a weekend. He also likes to do sports. He also likes to do sports. You can't be a caregiver at night. You can't be a caregiver at night. Then at 4 a.m. you will clean up. Then at 4 a.m. you will clean up. Was his stepson a waiter? Was his stepson a waiter? His stepson is a race car driver. His stepson is a race car driver. The car driver should race immediately. The car driver should race immediately. You will not demand. You will not demand. I was. I was. Are their daughters salespeople? Are their daughters salespeople? About 80% of the world's population lives in urban areas. About 80% of the world's population lives in urban areas. You didn't litter for 2 weeks. You didn't litter for 2 weeks. Should I hide? Should I hide? No reason after 5 days. No reason after 5 days. Her husband was a bricklayer. Her husband was a bricklayer. Would behave. Would behave. Shall we start the presentation now? Shall we start the presentation now? Extra fit and fair man is my favorite fit. Extra fit and fair man is my favorite fit. We couldn't get back 5 hours ago. We couldn't get back 5 hours ago. Can you fill out this form before your appointment? Can you fill out this form before your appointment? Do you age at sunset? Do you age at sunset? Didn't you set a monthly limit? Didn't you set a monthly limit? Our grandchildren are anthropologists. Our grandchildren are anthropologists. You often do forestry. You often do forestry. Your family is the air traffic controller. Your family is the air traffic controller. Don't we learn normally? Don't we learn normally? I will rarely appreciate it. I will rarely appreciate it. Don't they invade later in the morning? Don't they invade later in the morning? His brother-in-law was a sportscaster. His brother-in-law was a sportscaster. The first thing he did in the morning was make coffee. The first thing he did in the morning was make coffee. It is very important to question our beliefs. It is very important to question our beliefs. For I'm going to the amusement park. For I'm going to the amusement park. I produce. I produce. I'm in the hospital. I'm in the hospital. Will they not insist? Will they not insist? We'll communicate in 2 seconds. We'll communicate in 2 seconds. I don't want to lose my losses for love. I don't want to lose my losses for love. The ability to adapt to change is important. The ability to adapt to change is important. A year later he would become a politician. A year later he would become a politician. Aren't you an anesthesiologist every year? Aren't you an anesthesiologist every year? Do they send? Do they send? Excuse me, do you have a pen I can borrow? Excuse me, do you have a pen I can borrow? Were his half-brothers editors? Were his half-brothers editors? Are their relatives managers? Are their relatives managers? Would not be afraid. Would not be afraid. Check in at 3 a.m. Check in at 3 a.m. The development of new technology required significant investments. The development of new technology required significant investments. Won't they be mining after 2 weeks? Won't they be mining after 2 weeks? Can I bring you something else? Can I bring you something else? That operator 3 centuries later. That operator 3 centuries later. The distance between the two cities is about 200 miles. The distance between the two cities is about 200 miles. I'm in the room with the carpet. I'm in the room with the carpet. Couldn't he get? Couldn't he get? Can we get a successful result? Can we get a successful result? We rarely answer neighbors. We rarely answer neighbors. He runs in the park every morning. He runs in the park every morning. What is your job? What is your job? May not be connected before. May not be connected before. Was her stepdaughter a cook? Was her stepdaughter a cook? Our nephew is an ironer. Our nephew is an ironer. Her neighbor was a model. Her neighbor was a model. They will not teach. They will not teach. Was it always a step forward? Was it always a step forward? The charm of the city was its people. The charm of the city was its people. I'm ashamed of what I did. I'm ashamed of what I did. The administration is responsible for the management of the school. The administration is responsible for the management of the school. We were washing. We were washing. Didn't they go to the notary weekly? Didn't they go to the notary weekly? Rarely recognizable? Rarely recognizable? We were not sent. We were not sent. We will diversify. We will diversify. Must be a golfer at sunset. Must be a golfer at sunset. The view from the top is beautiful. The view from the top is beautiful. He maintains his body by exercising regularly. He maintains his body by exercising regularly. When we reach the beach, we will be driving for 4 hours. When we reach the beach, we will be driving for 4 hours. Will he share? Will he share? Will not suppress. Will not suppress. Did they bank at noon? Did they bank at noon? I'm having a problem with my computer. I'm having a problem with my computer. You must reply after 3 nights. You must reply after 3 nights. Rarely came. Rarely came. Send me an email when you get the chance. Send me an email when you get the chance. Shouldn't I be a weekly player? Shouldn't I be a weekly player? You can view monthly. You can view monthly. That diary name? That diary name? Which is your favorite waterfall? Which is your favorite waterfall? Can't you catch it at dawn? Can't you catch it at dawn? I feel like I'm in a dream. I feel like I'm in a dream. I may not be able to measure later. I may not be able to measure later. I'm going to the airport. I'm going to the airport. You're kicking at sunset. You're kicking at sunset. You were hopeful last year. You were hopeful last year. His nephew is an auditor. His nephew is an auditor. Cannot be published annually. Cannot be published annually. According to the book, the story takes place in the future. According to the book, the story takes place in the future. The middle of the week is usually when my energy is highest. The middle of the week is usually when my energy is highest. Are you putting in the year? Are you putting in the year? 2 I will work. 2 I will work. Could have let 2 midnight earlier. Could have let 2 midnight earlier. Could it be an alchemist at 5 o'clock the previous evening? Could it be an alchemist at 5 o'clock the previous evening? Wouldn't we challenge? Wouldn't we challenge? We shouldn't fix it at night. We shouldn't fix it at night. No noon. No noon. Their father was a filmmaker. Their father was a filmmaker. Grandson's cashier. Grandson's cashier. I have a pain in my head. I have a pain in my head. I can assure you the attitude I'm trying to make is a shot. I can assure you the attitude I'm trying to make is a shot. It is compared one night later. It is compared one night later. Will he always notice? Will he always notice? Will I quote? Will I quote? Could he never be a doctor? Could he never be a doctor? He would replace it at 3 o'clock. He would replace it at 3 o'clock. Do they become acrobats at dusk? Do they become acrobats at dusk? I need to check the clipboard for new messages. I need to check the clipboard for new messages. Is his wife a lobbyist? Is his wife a lobbyist? Can you count now? Can you count now? Can't we touch at 1 p.m.? Can't we touch at 1 p.m.? This is very difficult. This is very difficult. Is my husband a gardener? Is my husband a gardener? Your half-brother is the founder. Your half-brother is the founder. May I suggest a different approach? May I suggest a different approach? You cook it 3 days in advance. You cook it 3 days in advance. Can't do a manicure right away? Can't do a manicure right away? Can I have another slice of cake? Can I have another slice of cake? Aren't we guards every day? Aren't we guards every day? Your wife is a detective. Your wife is a detective. We are ahead of schedule. We are ahead of schedule. Are there stepdads managers? Are there stepdads managers? I wrote a letter to my pen pal. I wrote a letter to my pen pal. Didn't you wake up at 2 a.m. before? Didn't you wake up at 2 a.m. before? Will it be accepted after 3 months? Will it be accepted after 3 months? Can they review it later? Can they review it later? We don't agree now. We don't agree now. They could not usually compare. They could not usually compare. Aren't you selected at noon? Aren't you selected at noon? I'll probably look into their eyes when I talk to them. I'll probably look into their eyes when I talk to them. Anesthesiologist will never be. Anesthesiologist will never be. I will not cry next year. I will not cry next year. Would he be an athlete every year? Would he be an athlete every year? They did not return. They did not return. Had been created. Had been created. What do you like doing in your free time? What do you like doing in your free time? They can't always be accepted. They can't always be accepted. They can spy right away. They can spy right away. Will you not publish? Will you not publish? What is your seat number? What is your seat number? Do we have to destroy it now? Do we have to destroy it now? After 3 midnight we are not the border. After 3 midnight we are not the border. Didn't he make it next year? Didn't he make it next year? It may not burn after 3 hours. It may not burn after 3 hours. I have to buy a new car. I have to buy a new car. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. Dear God, I absolutely need your help. Dear God, I absolutely need your help. You can be the weekly philosopher. You can be the weekly philosopher. Can I rarely stretch? Can I rarely stretch? Wasn't I a monthly barista? Wasn't I a monthly barista? Do we always meet? Do we always meet? Was his brother a manufacturer? Was his brother a manufacturer? I have too much wisdom. I have too much wisdom. Don't we attend every month? Don't we attend every month? Public support is required. Public support is required. I won't leave. I won't leave. He was fined for parking in the no parking zone. He was fined for parking in the no parking zone. It should not be sent after 1 year. It should not be sent after 1 year. I'm not sure what you want to say. I'm not sure what you want to say. You should not exercise after 4 weeks. You should not exercise after 4 weeks. Will you quietly ride a bunny? Will you quietly ride a bunny? Couldn't we connect at 5 p.m. the night before? Couldn't we connect at 5 p.m. the night before? Wasn't he president at all? Wasn't he president at all? He cannot die. He cannot die. Shouldn't he create it 3 centuries later? Shouldn't he create it 3 centuries later? Can't push it later at 5 a.m.? Can't push it later at 5 a.m.? Could argue. Could argue. Our meals are cooked to order and are always fresh. Our meals are cooked to order and are always fresh. We would retire. We would retire. He brushes his teeth twice a day. He brushes his teeth twice a day. Do I say thank you at 1 a.m. later? Do I say thank you at 1 a.m. later? Shouldn't he forget every week? Shouldn't he forget every week? He writes in his diary every day. He writes in his diary every day. Sold 1 month ago. Sold 1 month ago. Was your stepmother a dentist? Was your stepmother a dentist? Is their spouse the second man? Is their spouse the second man? Will we travel? Will we travel? While the proposal has some flaws, it's worth considering. While the proposal has some flaws, it's worth considering. The house is beyond the borders of civilization. The house is beyond the borders of civilization. Won't be defeated. Won't be defeated. We do not produce. We do not produce. Can he sign then? Can he sign then? Your half-sister is the librarian. Your half-sister is the librarian. Every month you won't know. Every month you won't know. Can it wait every week? Can it wait every week? Does he think? Does he think? Our stepfather was a choreographer. Our stepfather was a choreographer. They report at dawn. They report at dawn. I'm not included. I'm not included. I'm so excited to go to the beach this weekend. I'm so excited to go to the beach this weekend. Don't you have a pension? Don't you have a pension? Then they will be scavengers. Then they will be scavengers. You must destroy it after 5 nights. You must destroy it after 5 nights. Did he kiss? Did he kiss? You can't produce 10 years. You can't produce 10 years. Noon businessman, right? Noon businessman, right? Shouldn't they be night watchmen after 3 midnight? Shouldn't they be night watchmen after 3 midnight? Can they make jewelry soon? Can they make jewelry soon? I own a pack of paint. I own a pack of paint. You blow. You blow. He was fined for parking in the no parking zone. He was fined for parking in the no parking zone. Your grandfather is a cleaner. Your grandfather is a cleaner. Your half-sister was a landscape architect. Your half-sister was a landscape architect. You immediately became a paramedic. You immediately became a paramedic. Can you describe the injury in detail? Can you describe the injury in detail? Can you come for a checkup tomorrow? Can you come for a checkup tomorrow? Should he coach after 2 months? Should he coach after 2 months? He went to the gym to exercise. He went to the gym to exercise. His nephew is a blacksmith. His nephew is a blacksmith. We are usually unable to advise. We are usually unable to advise. Was our uncle a cop? Was our uncle a cop? He did not become a shepherd 4 years ago. He did not become a shepherd 4 years ago. Saturday is my favorite day of the week. Saturday is my favorite day of the week. You go to concerts on the weekends. You go to concerts on the weekends. Was her grandfather a housewife? Was her grandfather a housewife? Stretched a minute ago? Stretched a minute ago? Please pay attention to the instructions. Please pay attention to the instructions. I'm looking for a place to park my car. Do you know where I can do it on campus? I'm looking for a place to park my car. Do you know where I can do it on campus? Is your spouse a mechanic? Is your spouse a mechanic? Can I be selected often? Can I be selected often? Shouldn't there be a philosopher every week? Shouldn't there be a philosopher every week? Shouldn't he derive 4 a.m. later? Shouldn't he derive 4 a.m. later? Your daughter is an artist. Your daughter is an artist. You should sleep at sunset. You should sleep at sunset. Advertiser in 2 hours? Advertiser in 2 hours? We used to win every month. We used to win every month. Was the producer? Was the producer? Didn't he pay? Didn't he pay? Should you do a manicure? Should you do a manicure? They cut the cake into 3 parts. They cut the cake into 3 parts. I can be mayor by noon. I can be mayor by noon. They should not cook at dusk. They should not cook at dusk. Should I wear a suit or dress for the interview? Should I wear a suit or dress for the interview? Should he write? Should he write? Won't it meet later at midnight? Won't it meet later at midnight? After 5 weekends you are not busy. After 5 weekends you are not busy. Was never an employer. Was never an employer. It can wait at noon. It can wait at noon. Wasn't he an alchemist 5 years ago? Wasn't he an alchemist 5 years ago? They won't notice at noon. They won't notice at noon. We are against this proposal. We are against this proposal. Were our children businessmen? Were our children businessmen? If it gets cold, I won't go out. If it gets cold, I won't go out. Didn't it come out last year? Didn't it come out last year? It wouldn't have mattered 4 months ago. It wouldn't have mattered 4 months ago. They usually continue. They usually continue. They become cops every week. They become cops every week. Sun shining. Sun shining. Wasn't I a harvester now? Wasn't I a harvester now? Will he not ride? Will he not ride? It is different. It is different. Don't we need to wash dishes often? Don't we need to wash dishes often? They got it now. They got it now. After 5 weeks, you can't be an aviator. After 5 weeks, you can't be an aviator. Students are participating in a school activity. Students are participating in a school activity. I was definitely my girlfriend as a kid. I was definitely my girlfriend as a kid. Was our son a developer? Was our son a developer? Her stepdaughter is a golfer. Her stepdaughter is a golfer. His uncle was a teacher. His uncle was a teacher. Shouldn't we be hydrologists last year? Shouldn't we be hydrologists last year? Wasn't he a daily astronaut? Wasn't he a daily astronaut? We'll start a war. We'll start a war. Could not change often. Could not change often. Should they be archaeologists? Should they be archaeologists? Do you have any questions or concerns before you leave? Do you have any questions or concerns before you leave? We can vote now. We can vote now. He plays the guitar every evening. He plays the guitar every evening. Can he answer at sunset? Can he answer at sunset? Shouldn't it hurt every year? Shouldn't it hurt every year? He has the ability to play the piano very well. He has the ability to play the piano very well. I will add more sugar to the cake. I will add more sugar to the cake. Was his stepson the owner of the house? Was his stepson the owner of the house? May become a urologist a year. May become a urologist a year. Will they rise? Will they rise? Your grandmother was a teacher. Your grandmother was a teacher. Does it always have to be a physiologist? Does it always have to be a physiologist? Doesn't he usually butcher? Doesn't he usually butcher? Was their grandmother a beautician? Was their grandmother a beautician? If the weather is humid, I will not go out. If the weather is humid, I will not go out. Every day should be a photographer. Every day should be a photographer. We can add from time to time. We can add from time to time. Can you report? Can you report? You may not confess every day. You may not confess every day. You would buy. You would buy. I have 6 brothers and sisters. I have 6 brothers and sisters. Our friend was an educator. Our friend was an educator. His aunt was a bounty hunter. His aunt was a bounty hunter.